Mirage will be coming out. I probably do expect, I mean, what are your thoughts for this match in terms of, I'll let you go first, who you think will pull through?
Look, it's hard to go past Exile 5 at
Yeah.
the moment, particularly in this matchup. But yeah, I don't think, without seeing Incept play, they took maps off a legacy mix yesterday, so I think they're certainly capable of taking a map. Been an interesting encounter. I think it's going to be 2-1 to X5.
I think it is hard to probably predict an Incept win for us personally because we haven't seen too much of them play. All you can really do for our sake is really look at the results. And for me, I think X5 is a known quantity. I think by their own admission, they probably haven't been playing the greatest level of Counter-Strike that they would have been expecting of themselves, particularly after they did introduce both Mizu and Tux, aka Tucker, into the lineup. They were really two strong additions. I was really happy to see those two players get the opportunity. Pex, we know, has been making a name for himself as one of the strongest up-and-comers at the moment. He's really a hot commodity in the scene. Had a lot of offers from different teams and has decided to stick around with XL5 for good reason. But I think for these guys, you can look at their players on the team and almost know what to expect of them. I do expect that they'll pull through with the win. But Incept, I'm really looking forward to this match. This will be nice for me. I'm looking forward to be able to watch these new up-and-comers.
Yeah, it's quite an exciting prospect, and I think the most exciting prospect for me is the fact that Exile 5, all those guys, bar Ferg, are quite young. So there's a lot of promise in their lineup in regards to future potential. But we're into the pistol round here, and look at this push coming out from Exile 5 into the B main. As that shots are exchanged, and Zoodmeister does go down Zoodex. And if we look on the radar, they've actually left the A site wide open. That bomb plant is going to come in, only Dan's to defend it.
Yeah, he would have spotted this out though, and it'll be a good rotation here coming from XL5. Off the back of that B push, they quickly had information as to where the terrorists were headed, so as they scrambled their way up towards the truck, you can see three members there, plus Virgin Highway, trying to make their way now upon the A site, and Ferg will find the first member, the old man Ferg, finding the first frag on this retake, and his teammates now are looking to get the job done themselves. Dans does find one. Exia doing a good job in Chaotic for their own part of taking down some of those oncoming CTs, but it all looks to be too much here. It's a 1 versus 3 for Exia, and here's an A main. Pex puts an end to that dream very, very quickly, and Old Man Ferg on the bomb in the nick of time there. XL5 starting out the stronger.
Old man Ferg, hey?
Well, that's in your words, not mine, mate. You said they were all young apart from Ferg and X5.
I didn't call him old. I didn't say.
I'll let you explain that to him afterwards.
I didn't call him old. I just said he wasn't young.
Okay. Well, that'll be much better. I'm sure that'll go down much better with Ferg. I'll let you explain. But nonetheless, Incept, they will eco this round. They'll look for that third round bye, which they certainly will be able to afford now. And as they make their way again towards the B side, this time the CT's not as aggressive, but that HE grenade certainly will help.
Yeah, that grenade was very aggressive though, wasn't it? Because they are going to stream onto this B-bomb site. Even despite the smoke being there, Ferg, of course, in heaven, watching things go by. Danzo is just cleaning up in the meantime. Ferg actually gets taken out, but they've actually compromised the B-bomb site. Zane taking a few frags down, but that bomb has been taken down. Great work from Tucker there. Getting in and preventing that plant, so just stemming the money that Incept are able to get in these early rounds, and despite that, they're actually going to go for the buy as a result of getting that plant in the first round.
Yeah, I think to be expected here. They did well to at least get a couple of frags there on that B side, and at least make those CTs reinvest into the round. You can see Tuck's actually going for the really early AWP investment, and he started to make a name for himself as an AWPer in Chiefs towards the end of his time in that team, and certainly proved to be extremely capable and potent on that CT side when he's locking down angles. Quite a passive AWPer, and for the time being, the terrorists look to be playing into his hands in that capacity as they've gone for a split approach at the moment. Chaotic just standing by in mid, waiting for that smoke to dissipate so he can get eyes onto that choke point, but the HE follow-up will take him down a little bit, and XL5 here, Jim, they're having the time to set themselves up well in both of these sites.
Yeah, and they're taking their time well, but they're getting job done, and as we see MFN, I think we're just going to stick to calling him that. Man from Malta just doesn't roll off the tongue too well in a cast, but he's just there bullying the door, making sure that a CT is focusing on that particular area of the map at all times. So just creating that uneasy tension in the site, but the rest of the team are actually going to head towards both A main and the boost by the looks of things, potentially coming in late.
Well, that door destruction, it's quite a safe way of making your presence known without really having too much of an opportunity to be, I guess, putting yourself in harm's way, as, like you're saying, At the moment, Incepts are crawling their way through A main, and 40 seconds left on the clock. This is our first sight of Incept, and a very slow sight at that as they do now bust out. And Mizzy there on the boost, takes down one, but lives for an eternity and allows Pix to step out from the quad box and pick up a nice double for himself, and also that rotation now comes in. So Ferg takes down the man from Malta. Exia now finds himself in a 1 versus 2 with only 1 point of health. So a stray flash grenade, even a decoy could take him down at this point, but an AWP to the chest, that certainly does the deed as well. Good work there by Exile 5 shutting down attack.
Yeah, it does. But, of course, now they navigate that gun round. They've got themselves out to a 3-0 lead, and Exile 5 are just looking to now build their own economy on the back of this, as we can actually see Mizu with that PP Bazon. I haven't seen it too often in competitive matches, but I hear it's on the way back in. It's now becoming a favoured gun to farm some of that money. Also, early flash coming in. It actually picks up Mizu quite well, and he doesn't get any of those frags with that gun, but they're just caught now. They're hesitating before they get into that site, waiting for that smoke to come through. They will now hit. That bomb has been taken down. Great work from Tux there. It's allowed Pex to actually get back into the site and is holding things down. Takes 1, 2, looks for the third, gets it. Dan's cleans up, and Exile 5 do quite well there to navigate that anti-eco.
Yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment for a little while longer until we've had a chance to watch Incept a little bit more and see how these gun rounds do play out. But for the time being, they are a little bit slow, aren't they, when it comes to committing to the sites there? Even when they did a great job of taking down Mizu there, they stalled a little bit. Tux did a great job of locking down the truck, and then obviously Pex cleaning up in the side as we now look to see that AWP in Zudex's hands, see if he can put it to good use. And the terrace again quite slow, but this time committing a few more members towards the B main, so perhaps trying to open it up in that capacity as Zudex does now get boosted up. Tux make his presence known, but you can see it's just a distraction there. Dan's on the roof, seemingly just waiting to see if any terrorist have a false sense of security and feel bold enough to walk out into mid, which he can capitalise as a result. For the time being, though, Incept's not willing to take such a gamble or such a risk. Zudex actually still just standing up there on the boost, watching for Tux towards the short box, but he's rotated back towards A here, shoring up that defense.
Yeah, that's right, and as we see, Incept are actually making their moves back towards B here at the moment, so that B bomb site will be called into question, and funnily enough, at the moment, it's only Ferg holding things down. He does smoke and allow himself, but smoke will allow him to get him out of checkers actually at the moment, but he's going to take that opportunity. Just flash himself in here. Ferg's positioning. That flash doesn't quite land in its target, and he runs straight into 4 terrorists, but he's traded out quite quickly there. The frags are coming in left, right, and centre. Incept are trading down quite well here, and it favours them as the bomb plant goes down. Now Pex and Mizu have to retake here.
Yeah, well, they're on a 2 versus 3, and a lot of damage has been done to Exia, so they'll communicate that, but Exia is showing that even with 5 points of health, what a danger he can still be as he rips the head off from Mizzy there, and that HE will also connect onto Pex. He's now down to 50 points of health and does find the first frag, and I guess he's lulled into that retake there as perhaps opting to go for the magical 1 versus 2 retake. Not to be, he goes down, and Exile 5 find themselves losing the first round there of this half, and a little bit strange there on the rotations for me, a little bit late to get back towards that B site. Ferg there, seemingly on his own for an eternity.
Yeah, well, if Ferg could make those flashes work, I'd imagine it would be potentially a different outcome there. But yeah, interesting for me was just how concise the teamwork was from Incept. They got into the site, they traded quite well, and even just that little flash into checker room allowing the frag to come through. Nice touch. So teamwork on point at the moment for Incept, and we do see XL5 on a little bit of a force buy here actually. So they've semi-invested into the round.
I think this was more so a fact that they had some players with a lot of cash as opposed to perhaps trying to invest into the round, backing themselves on the ability to win it. They've almost equalised or squared off their money by investing as they have. It's meant that Dan's has that scout, Hex with the FAMAS, and a couple of players with pistols as well. And at the moment, the CT's Tux at least is taking a little bit of damage, but they are well positioned here, Jim, with 3 members in A and 1 at highway as the T's do look to head towards that side.
Right, and the trap is set, I say, but chaotic in the meantime. It's got himself out mid. Him and Zane are actually working quite well there. Is now they're just falling left, right, and centre, cleaning up that A bomb site, and a lonely man in Ferg just defending that B bomb site by himself. Takes one with the 5-7, so he takes down Zane, does a little bit of economic damage here. As now he's going to change his position and move around into the A main. He's only on 22 points of health. We'll be looking to potentially do some more damage here in this 3 versus 1, but at the moment, in fact, I think he's just resided to just hiding now in the staging area, now the door. So just looking to get an exit frag potentially steal a cheeky weapon here.
Yeah, you can see he's not throwing his life away, though. He recognises that he, like you said, invested with the pistol, but also that armour, still 88 points, and that'll certainly bode well for him on the next round in that gun round. So even if he doesn't find one here, it's not the end of the world if he does manage to survive. Exile potentially might be running into his crosshair, and he does, and Ferg does take him down, connecting on perhaps the 6th or 7th shots there, but does he have enough time to recover the gun? Not quite, as the position almost proved to be his downfall in the end. He got in the frag, but not the gun. 4-2, good work there by Incept, though. They did head towards that A site. We said it was heavily fortified, but really, those trade frags came in ever so quickly, did a good job of checking all the angles, and now well positioned here in the start of this first half.
Right, and as we look at the overlay there, we've actually got Incept heading towards B main quite quickly already, and Lux does have that AWP, but of course, he's positioned in the A bomb site there. Ferg, though, just so close to tapping on a few heads there. Through the smoke there, but that pop flash will mean Incept are now hitting this bomb site. They're going to stream through all entrances to the B bomb site there. Ferg does go down. Brilliant shot there from Exire as he does start to light things up in the bomb site there. Zane also with the frags. And Exile 5 are just falling over like dominoes.
Oh, now this is much more impressive, isn't it? As they've really just forced their way into the side, and those 4 frags came in about 2 seconds, making a 5th frag as Zudex takes down Man from Malta. That's one sure way of getting your teammates on tilt a little bit. Man from Malta there lurking. Potentially Zudex wasn't, or he is the lurker, I should say, of the team. Zudex not expecting him to be in such a forthright position there in the middle of the side. And Tux now, he's got that AWP in hand, but I think at the moment he's just choosing his hiding position and as safely as he possibly can, trying to be a little bit crafty here by holding the vents. The terrace perhaps not expecting him to be so close to the bomb site. He doesn't have any real aspirations of winning the round, perhaps just trying to use that forward positioning to his advantage and trying to stay alive.
I think the game is up. He got caught out there, but they're not going to make it to him in time if they do choose to chase. So smart positioning here from Tux. He will save that AWP out, or won't he? The cast
Not
is
if Zane
cursed.
has anything to say about it.
Caster's curse, unfortunately. Didn't get away with that one, did he? But we do now see XL5 in a bit of trouble here with that economy of theirs.
The key thing for me that round, though, was actually the pace with which they attacked the B site. It was probably the earliest attack we've seen them coming out with. They still had about a minute 25 left on the clock when they did decide to execute onto B, and I think that caught Ferg off guard and ultimately Dan's as Pex on and Eco tries to force the issue in mid, but ultimately meets his own downfalls. Emperor and does double up. Great work there from the man from Malta, but it will be a big attack here, and Dan's finds one. Ferg not able to support him though, so he's gone down, and all of a sudden it's looking like Incept is starting to get some confidence in their stride here as they capitalise on this site. Exire, I think, running to his teammate. A little bit of blocking going on the side, but it won't prove to be much of an obstacle ultimately as the bomb does now get planted.
Yeah, I think they were just climbing over one another to get those precious stat padding eco frags. But nonetheless now, it leaves Mizu in an untenable position. 4 versus 1. Does actually get tapped a little bit through the wall there, so just... He wasn't uneasy about this 4v1 already. That will certainly not help the matter, but just looking to try and pinch a weapon.
We'll see how well he can go about it. I think the Terrace at the moment, they're very clued onto the fact that he could be behind them. You can see both Chaotic and also his teammate there in the sunroom, man from Malta. And actually, did they spot out his shadow? I think they can actually see that. If they've got their shadow detail set to high, they will see that shadow before we can do anything about it. And they capitalise, taken down. Mizu will be asking himself, how on earth did they know I was there? What is going on? As a result of their graphic settings, Incept do finish off that round strongly, 4-all, and at the moment, they've got all the momentum the last 4 rounds in a row going their way.
Yeah, that they do, and it's not sure what the technical pause would be. I doubt it'd be tactical, but yeah,
I think they've lost the player, Jim.
Touche. I think he,
Well
maybe you're a bit
played.
embarrassed after the TK in early rounds.
Nothing to be embarrassed about when you're at 4-all on the scoreboard here, but this is actually quite dangerous here for Exile 5 very early on. Quite worrying signs in the sense that when they're losing these rounds, at least recently, they've been quite convincing round wins for Incept. They've just been doing a great job at forcing their way onto sites, regardless of what time they choose to attack. Sometimes it's been early on in the round, like that B attack a short while ago, but also sometimes they've been drawing it out a little bit, but it's nothing too fancy or special. I guess we had some question marks coming into this about what to expect from Incept, but at the moment I'd just say that they're doing the basics really well. They're just executing with a lot of numbers onto sites and just backing themselves to make those trade frags, doing a great job of it.
Yeah, definitely. As we said, the momentum's definitely shifted in this game. And as a result of being put under such strain, XL5 just seemed to be crumbling a bit. They looked good early, but Incept, through some brilliant teamwork, have actually got themselves into the match. It hasn't been through any set executes or into intricate strategy. it's simply just been solid teamwork, good trading, and some sharp shots.
And I think that's the best basis to, I guess, develop your game upon as an up-and-coming team. I think it's probably fair to drop that tag now from Incept because, like we said, it actually currently ranks number 8 in Oceania according to our rankings, and they've had some great results now over the last few months. I think they've now played in 7 comps in 3 months and a lot of podium finishes, but you can always add strategies and add little nuances to the game in that respect later on. But if you've got a solid foundation in the form of teamwork, I think that certainly accelerates that development. And you can see at the moment, even against potentially more favoured opposition, they're doing a great job and giving a good account of themselves here. This is good to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of the school of thought that teamwork and chemistry always seems to trump strategy and set executions, because usually you find the teams that they might generally have great set executions will sometimes falter if they don't work. They really have nothing to fall back on. At least your teamwork can get you out of a lot of those situations to some degree. But look at this aggression early on from Incept, just taking that B main early on there. They did take a grenade for their trouble too, so it's taking some damage early on. But you can see how uneasy Exile 5 are at the moment. They've actually got 2 towards that B bomb site and a 3rd in the vent in Tux, so they're really looking to shore things up.
Most certainly, it puts a lot of responsibility and pressure, you'd have to say, on Pix's shoulders, who's over almost solo holding that entire half of the map at the moment, as Mizu's the closest teammate to him in mid. But it looks to be a good read here as 3 members are positioned in B main, as you pointed out. I'm curious to see potentially what Zane is up to, because Zane does have the bomb, and he's just waiting behind at the moment back in T main, lurking around with men from Malta, potentially making his way towards B now. I'm not too sure, but the CTs, they've expended quite a lot of utility very early on. All those HE grenades, even those smokes. So at the moment, just having to rely potentially on those flashes and even their crossfires and whatnot to get them through this round. But this is again an illustration, isn't it, Jim, of just Incept manipulating the time and the clock.
Right, they've got a man from Malta up that boost there, that pop flash last Tux to take 1. Will he get a second? He does, but he's taken down swiftly by Zoodmeister. And now Incept are actually going to try and work this B site, but of course there are 2 CTs there remaining. MFM does take down Mizu on that lurk, just stifling the CT rotation, but the headshots are coming through. Zudex with the frag, but Dance just putting up a wall, not allowing them to get into B, so great work there. XL5 get themselves around, but they do take a bit of economic damage for their trouble.
I think they'll just be happy with the round, to be honest, at this point. I think, like you said, the fact that they had so many members towards that B side of the map, even those players in mid, such as Tux, I mean, he was in vents, you saw how fast he was able to rotate. He was the one who initiated the exchange at B side. I think ultimately it just proved to be too much of a task there to take down all those members, as Incept now buy into this round and look to mix things up a bit as they're sending a couple of members towards A. It will be Zudex there with that AWP shot and spots out that A main aggression, but can't quite connect here. So CTs, they're granted a life in that instance, as they're now backtracking. Off the back of that smoke, they're allowed to retreat into some safer positions. Ferg has been blocked out of mid though, so some territory here that XL5 have given up, and Incept looking to make the most of it.
Not too sure what that Molotov attempt was from Mizu, but wow. Nonetheless, MFM actually makes him pay for it, takes him down with that headshot at the forklift, and now we do see a 4 versus 5 with XL5 having lost control of mid, so A's under a lot of pressure right now as they make their way up the highway. Chaotic and Exile open things up. Ferg is able to find a trade, but it's a little bit too late as now the 2 remaining CTs don't have much chance of making it work here. Zudex with that frag, great work from him, and it leaves Dan to just try and save his weaponry and hide at the other bomb site.
This is when I wish we had a replay feature so we could show that Molotov in slow motion again for all the viewers on the stream. Because that was a quality NA Molotov in that instance, as Dan's does look to save. And I mean, you pointed out last round the fact that XL5, whilst they won the round, that it had done some economic damage to their own cause because they only had a few members surviving at the end. And this is worst case scenario. They're now looking at a hard reset. Dan just has that sole AK in hand, but X5 potentially might be on a single, perhaps even a double eco as they try and shore up their economy now to close out the CT half. But I think it's fair to say Incept doing a fantastic job at the moment, because in the current meta, at least here in Australia, it's a CT-sided map, and to find themselves 5-all in a match in which they must win to keep their CG hopes alive, at least of securing a land berth, they've got to be content with this start.
I'm absolutely cracking up at old mate V Deadline's comment in Twitch chat. I think the Hubble telescope just got molly.
Jim's actually losing it right now.
That's so good.
On Skype. Nonetheless, though, Dan's perhaps the sole hope for XL5 here in this round as he has that AK in hand, but it will be chaotic finding the first few frags, and the CT's curiously for me going so aggressive there in mid, despite the fact that they did have that AK in the hands of Dance. He has positioned it towards the A door, and man from Malta doing a fantastic job of taking down Mizu, and also getting the information that Dans was there, inflicting a lot of damage onto him before he ultimately went down. So it is a 3-on-3, but you can see both Dans and Tux at the moment on their last breath of life as they do look to shore up that A defense, and that looks to be the position that Incept are holding at the moment. So CTs, whilst they're at the right site, they're making a lot of noise. Elephant Tux there, giving his position away potentially.
Potentially, and Incept are just holding here. I don't mind this from them. They're just waiting to see if XL5 want to make that next move as Dans makes his position known. Gets taken down quickly too as well, so good work from Zudex making that trade or potential trade frag when necessary, but do see now Incept just going to make their way towards that A bomb site there. The bomb is solo in the A main, and they're just waiting for, I believe, X here to just clear things out in mid, make his way up. Just come face to face with Tux and take him down, and they will hit this A bomb site.
Yeah, really intelligent play there to send Exia back around through mid and go up highway. Exia is actually the in-game leader for Incept, we do understand. So making that correct read in that instance, it was better to split up the forces and create that second angle of attack there on that A site. Proved to be the downfall from Exile 5. Smart read there from the up-and-coming in-game leader of this team. And as a result, Incept will now go up 6-5 on the scoreboard. It'll actually be their first lead, I do believe, in this match so far tonight. And for their sake, they'll be hoping to extend that as Pex will save this AK in T-Spawn. He's not under too much pressure at the moment, but Incept making ends meet at the moment.
They are quite well, and as we said, they've really... it's been an arm wrestle between these two teams. They've gone essentially blow for blow. XL5 with the opening round exchanges there, but Incept just doing well to wrestle things back and steady that ship. So we just do see Pex. He will save that AK. So lessen the burden on the counter-terrorists, but as you can see, their money's still in pretty average condition. Quite shabby there.
And we do apologise, guys, by the way. We know that the stream title is a bit misleading. I think it's referring to Legacy Chiefs. Unfortunately, we don't have the permissions to be able to change it. We're hoping that someone from CG can help us out in that respect. But at the moment, it will be Incept who's perhaps changing things up on their own there, as they did look to go for an early mid pick there. Actually, Chaotic it was who spotted out temporarily, but has backed off. And for good reason. Tuck's actually locking down mid-con at the moment with that AWP in hand. One of the members of Exile 5 with a stronger weapon, it's fair to say. Doesn't have much utility to support himself, though, so he'll be looking to get those frags before they can get too close to him. Again, Incept back to this default gym. Man from Malta making a nuisance of himself at A, whilst his teammates just hold across the rest of the map at the moment, just setting up their own little defense on the offenses. Nice headshot there through the door, opens the exchange.
Definitely making a nuisance of himself with frags like that, but as you can see now, what it's done is it's drawn another player from XL5 into the A bomb site, and again he's doing damage to that door, so it's left a hole in the defense elsewhere. It's up now to Incept to find that hole, and they will actually try and get themselves out mid. That Molotov just pushes Ferg deeper into the vent. They will get out mid, but Ferg potentially could get a few frags here if they're not careful.
That's right, he has the advantage here. Actually spots out and catches Chaotic off guard and does double up there. So massive work there from the in-game leader of XL5, finding those two frags. Actually is able to now to fall back and fortify his position as the terrorists have their hand forced. They will look to move towards this A site with a lot of gusto. They do find that trade frag. Their Tuck's going down, but ultimately will be Pex who steps out, playing from the MBK spot, taking one of his own. By virtue of these trades, it now leaves Zudex in a clutch situation, but he's done a fantastic job with the Tech 9, actually, finding two headshots. Now looks at that bomb down, and Ferg only 13 points of health. If Zudex keeps that AWP in hand, it might not necessarily be as much of an advantage. He switches to the pistol, gets Ferg through the smoke there. A third headshot, 1 versus 3, and Zudex doing a fantastic job with that secondary weapon, showing how dangerous it can be, particularly in his own hands.
Yeah, great work from Zudex here, and what was it, a 3 versus 1?
Yeah, 1 versus 3, that was good.
Quite sharp with that Tech 9. Tech 9 doing a lot more work than the AWP, but nonetheless, he's extended Incept's lead here, and really, they've had the run of play since those early opening rounds from XL5, and just continue to dominate. Here's that grenade is going to land at Ferg's feet there, slightly singed. That's how we like our croissants, and he's definitely copying a lot of damage here. But he's able to make it work, get one P250 frag, but it should be traded out here quite quickly. As Incept do push themselves into checkers. It is Zudex that gets that frag. Dance is able to square the ledge with a pistol frag, but MFM is trading out, and Hex has actually got himself into the site through that smoke.
What is going on?
It's an absolute menagerie here in the B bomb site.
What was that bitch? Oh dear. I think Zudex somehow survived when perhaps he oughtn't have. standing in the face of Pex there and dodging all the bullets Matrix style. But Incept, nonetheless, we can joke and laugh about how some of these frags and rounds are going down, but something you can't take away from Incept is the fact that they've now won 8 of the last 9 rounds. You said that Exile 5 started off quite strongly, but their 4 rounds was almost by virtue of winning the pistol and the first gun round. I think they had complete control of the economy, obviously, for a couple of those rounds, and were gifted a couple. So Incept certainly, to me, look the stronger at the moment. I'm really impressed from what we're seeing from them. This was their map choice, but nonetheless, they're putting up a really convincing show. Man from Malta tagging Mizu, but he's not looking to run away. And ultimately, as he's spraying at the second man, Pex in the sight, Mizu runs into his crosshair, gives away his life, and man from Malta can backtrack and moonwalk his way out of that A site.
Not too sure what happened there. I think poor old Mizu either got flashed by his teammate or flashed himself, but that pop flash did not have the desired effect. Either way, and they go down now. It is a 4 versus 5, so we do see now it's making their way through mid. Incept taking control. Ferg taking Chaotic's head there in middle. He will be pushed out of the mid connector though. That smoke just means he cannot perfectly see into the middle area, but nonetheless, Incept are making their way towards the B side.
Yeah, and at the moment, CT's well fortified. Dan does find one, but so many angles to contend with there as they were coming out the vents. But Zudex showing that sometimes he keeps that AWP in hand to full effect. It's not all about the Tech 9 with him. He takes down 2. It's down to a 2 versus 2. And he also has the bomb in hand. You can see him at the moment trying to throw it across towards Zane. But as they run out of heaven, they run into Zane's crosshair. And he's been a quiet name so far for me in this match. We haven't said Zane too many times, but he's been saving it up for a fantastic spectacle there as he does rip both heads off. And Incept look to put their stamp on this first half.
Would you say it's an insane headshot?
No, it was certainly an insane headshot. That was a time in which I do approve of your pun and your quick wit. As Incept now pull ahead quite convincingly in this match.
Yeah, quick-witted, huh? You normally call me dim-witted. That's definitely a change. But yeah, they're making a quick snap at this A-bomb site. That smoke will slow them down just slightly. And as we see on the overlay here, we do see Dan's has made his way into the A main. He takes 1, takes 2. Not able to get to the 3rd, but Mizu just pushes in through that smoke. Does get a 3rd member before he's traded out. And now it is a 2 versus 3. HP, though, on Tux is very, very low. He's only got a CZ into this round because that city economy has been absolutely crippled as Ferg does take down X here with another A main flank. So they're really just getting in and around Incept this round. But for me, I don't know if MFM, as sharp as he is, can get his way through this round. Not able to do so. Pex just taking him down there. 9-6 to score in favour of Incept after a T-side on Cache. The Australian meta continues to prove itself, T-sides being so strong on Cache. Or would you say it's more so a case of CT-sides being weak?
I don't even know if I buy into that meta at all. You've been preaching that for a while, but to be honest, I still certainly, from my experience, see more CT-sided halves. I think that Exile 5, though, they'll be kicking themselves. When you're up 4-0, especially a match in which you're favoured upon against an inexperienced opponent such as Incept, you'd certainly be looking to capitalise off that early momentum, but they just still let it got away from them in the end as Incept had that streak winning 8 out of the 9 rounds. We're now onto the second half pistol, and you can see it looks as though they're going aggressive here as Chaotic off the back of that flash does push into A-main, doesn't spot anyone, gives away a few footsteps there, enticing Tuts to push up into A-main to spot out what all the ruckus was about, but ultimately will be Chaotic finding that first headshot, and X here also spotting out Mizu in mid. Mizu's had a quiet first half, so he'll be looking to stay out strong at the moment as it looks as though Incept doing a great job of shutting down this mid attack.
That's right, and the frags are coming out left, right, and centre. It leaves Pex in a very difficult position there. Last one alive in mid. Gets taken down quite quickly. Incept beginning the second half with that same aggressive play, and it worked out. I mean, CT-sided, quite sharp in their pushes, and I think Chaotic really opened things up with that push into A main. That just unsettled the rest of Exile 5.
They just seem a lot more confident to me. It looks as though they now recognise that, look, we're not actually outskilled in this matchup. Whilst it might look on paper, we can beat these guys by pure aim at the moment. And I think it's reinvigorated Incept at the moment as they now look to defend this A attack. It will be X5 though. Doing a good job of finding a few frags, keeping this interesting as they have found their way onto A. The bomb will get planted. It is a 2-on-3 though. They have recovered one for Mass. It will be Dan's playing from the quad box with that. stronger weapon as Tux looks to inflict some damage of his own with that P250 and does find that Bink, it looks as though onto Zane, and finds a headshot onto MFM as well. So Tux doing a great job here for his team, sets up Dance for that easy frag. Zudex now in a 1 versus 2. If only he had a Tech 9, he'll be saying to himself, as it has proved to be his weapon of choice. He will walk his way into A and finds Tux there, but Dance dancing around the quad box, steps out, gets that headshot, and Exile 5 restores some order to their match progress as they win that second round. 7-10 from their perspective, but Incept now surely on an eco round.
Yeah, great work from XL5. They bought into that round, obviously, and made it work, despite the entry flash not getting any desired targets. The Tech 9 train just way too strong there, taking no prisoners at all. And we do see 3 heading towards the A bomb site there. Fairly passive hold at the moment from Incept, as the counter-terrorists look to stack that site. In the meantime, XL5 will take control of mid. They see Dan's up the boost there, and Pex is already out mid, so he's already got a lot of information by putting himself there. But they are going to have the run of the mill, the run of the map, and pick their sights from here.
Yeah, I thought there was some miscommunication there as Tux looked to be still clearing mid whilst Pex was out of there, but in the end, just making sure that they hadn't pushed through that smoke that Tux, or the Pex, I should say, didn't have eyes on. So good teamwork there. At the moment, Incept, they do have those pistols and even a few grenades or two. I actually like the grenade investment. XL5 now going to be really, really surprised and unsure potentially as to what they're up against here. When you see things like Molotovs coming out on a suspected eco round, it can really play with the minds of your opponents in that instance, as they have slowed down the pace, looking to move the way towards B here. And 3 CT members are well positioned. Zudex has found the first and gets the second here, Jim. Finding a lot of time for himself, still alive, ultimately taken down, and 2 more CTs to contend with. They get the first, they move in now, and it is Zane playing from the back of the site, but they're not going to check the site there. Mizu caught off guard, does a good job retaliating, but he has lost his teammate now, Jim, and it's gone down to a 1 versus 1.
That's right, he's done a lot of damage too as well. Mizu only on 11 points of health. That flash means he tries to peek. Exia just too sharp in that instance. The flash not really affecting him at all. And great work there from Incept. That pistol buy with a few grenades to help bolster things. It almost caught XL5 by surprise in the sense that, yeah, they were not quite expecting anything to come out of Incept. They were expecting a full eco, and the grenades, usually you'd only buy those when you invest into a round with weapons. So
I can understand that from an XL5 perspective, that they were perhaps caught off guard early, but there's no excuse in my mind for when you're then moving onto a site, once you understand that your opponents have invested, to not clear out that site properly. We saw Mizu there. He was the first man into B. It was his job to check that site. He had the bomb, I understand that, but he didn't do his job properly, and ultimately his teammate went down at the hands of Zane. He nearly too went down and ultimately lost out. You need to do a better job of checking your 6 in that instance, and all the angles that come with it. As XL5 here, they have bought into this round. They have found 1 frag, but they have lost 2 for good measure as the bomb does get planted in A. XL5 looking to hold out this round.
And Mizu there with a sharp headshot. Gets him into that bomb site, but now looking for a second. He does actually find that onto Zudex, so the ledger was squared, but only temporarily, as MFM does take 1. Mizu, though, making amends for his mistake in the last round. We'll need to make further amends here, but Incept way too strong in that retake. Trading out quite well. And just now bringing up what is their 12th round. XL5 at the moment seem to be lacking a lot of confidence.
I think that's probably a perfect insight into the current situation. I think this match has really come down to confidence at the moment for me, and it's strange, isn't it, when you can look at a roster including players such as Ferg, Tux, Mizu. I mean, those players have all travelled. Well, Tux hasn't travelled overseas, but he's won nationals. Ferg and Mizu have gone overseas, and to suggest that they're lacking confidence against a team such as Incept, where they would have been backing themselves to win, is an incredible statement for me. But it's certainly been the way that this match has been going. Incept are winning all the angels. And at the moment, you can see that they're well positioned here to defend against an attack. XL5, they forced the issue again. I don't like this for me. 7-12 down. Off the back of doing a lot of damage last round, it's almost forced the hand of XL5 as they do look to buy and break the bank of the CTs. Ferg doing a good job of finding the first and the second here, so the experience shining through, closes the distance. Pex also chimes in with 1 onto Chaotic, and they've opened up this A bomb site, not for the first time in this half, and Ferg there, needless push for me.
Yeah, got absolutely blasted too by MFN, and now it would allow the CTs a small window of opportunity to retake this A bomb site, and by the looks of things, they're actually going to go for it, as man from Malta finds Dance in the quad box area, looking now for another. He does find another frag as well. Perfect team flash there, making Tux turn at the right moment. They check that smoke thoroughly. They know where Pex is now, and great retake there. And that all stemmed from Ferg just giving him that small opportunity, that small opening.
Oh, dearie me. So I guess up until this point in the half, I'd been willing to just suggest that Exile 5 had been outplayed. They'd been, I guess, the victims of some stronger opponents and some better team play. But that round was really them imploding. That was a 2 versus 4 situation from a CT perspective. And like you said, Ferg off the back of getting 2 great opening frags to open up that A bomb site and mid. Went and pushed towards Truck. It was reminiscent of Sponge versus Freakazoid. But the other teammates there weren't hiding either. And they got picked apart. And that was horrible piece of play. Unfortunately, it's come at such a critical time for them now as they've been forced to reinvest into this round to try and keep their hopes alive. But what am I saying? They've now found another 2 opening frags here. So XL5 refusing to give up, but they've run into another crossfire here. Exir and Zane finding 3 between them and a 4th. Zane doing a great job and allows MFM there, the lurcher, to step around in mid, and he's happy with himself. He's dancing all over that body. And why wouldn't you at 14-7?
They are absolutely running over XL5 here at the moment. XL5 just seemingly out of ideas and out of confidence. So, at the moment, Incept look like runaway winners of this round. XL5 have bought into it, as one would expect, but a little bit light on utility in some areas. They are going to go towards this A bomb site quite quickly, though.
They've had some success that opening up rounds, haven't they? In the last 3 or 4 times they've hit it, they've actually managed to almost win out that trade game as it will be Pex opening up that door. The bomb has been left behind here, so despite the fact that they are quite advanced and putting some pressure on the A bomb side, it doesn't look to me as though they'll be executing anytime soon. You can see at the moment though, MFM is well positioned there in the vents. I like that at the moment. They've actually left the B side, correct me if I'm wrong, completely unguarded here, at least until MFM does jump out the vents off the back of that pressure from Tux and repositions himself. Tux doing a great job of swiveling on a dime, finding the first spots out, the second there in ZCon, and meanwhile, Ferg doing a great job of just working his way up highway.
That's right, he's got quite an advanced position there, and in fact, Texas got himself into the A-bomb site. Ferg finds that frag, and now it is a 3 versus 5, but we've seen these situations pan out differently before. As they're going to make their way back towards B. Sole defender here, MFM. Let's see what he can do.
He's in the side at the moment. The T's running towards his crosshair. Ultimately, Dan's does take him down. So history doesn't look to be repeating itself in this case. X5 actually closing out a 5 versus 3. Surprisingly, I find myself using the word actually in that context, but it will be chaotic. Stalling at least for the time being, but ultimately Tux says hello as he taps him down through the wall, and his game sense is fully switched on at the moment as for the time being, Incept might have to wait a little bit longer to close out this match. They don't have much money to play with at the moment, and there's no urgency from their perspective. They have a massive lead at the moment, so they'll just be able to bide their time, and looks as though they've actually invested in pistol armor. I'm not actually a fan of this, Jim. Do you rate this play here? They're forcing the issue. They're looking at potentially a single or double eco if they lose this.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be riding their coattails about it just yet. They are at least doing something with it. They're not playing it as a standard round. As we look at the overlay, they're actually sending numbers towards the A main, so 3 of them are ready to go. And Ferg, though, not even close enough to be affected by that flash. Takes 1, takes 2, does get bigged. And that's not really going to stop him too much as Dan's charges on into that site. Zudex does find a frag. And X here trades his teammate out quite well, but he's the only one left at that A bomb site. He's been left alone completely now. XL5 are going to make their way back towards B, and you would expect the plant to come through. X here has made away with the gun, though, and at least we'll have some armor, so the investment, probably, in the end, not really worthwhile. But yeah, I was happy to see them do something with that round, at least.
Yeah, I wasn't. I must admit that when you're just the underdogs and you're trying to close out a win, they've had a fantastic map so far. I just think you need to just play the conventional game. I don't think you need to try and come up with those 1% of plays that perhaps they might have caught X5 off guard with the pistol armor stacked towards A. Maybe they could have recovered a few more guns and gone for a great retake on the B side, but a whole lot of maybes in there. I think for me, there's no real need to take a gamble in this sort of situation. They've had complete dominance on the gun rounds so far, apart from perhaps a little bit of patchy work there at that A site defense, but outside of that, it's really been a commanding performance from them. So we might just have to wait a little bit longer for them to be able to fully invest in a round. X here at the moment looks as though he will save that AK out, takes down 1 along with him, and that will secure his 20 bomb on the scoreboard, so he'll be happy with that. But at the moment, you look at the bankrolls of the CT members, not much to write home about.
Yeah, not really. But Incept now. Again, that solo AK, they've given it to, well, X is actually retained it. He's gone towards that B bomb site, so he's supported quite well at the moment. They have stacked things towards B and left the solo member in chaotic, just holding A. XL5, though, a very, very slow default round.
And I think they'll feel certainly comfortable at the moment, XL5 at least in terms of their control of this round. Certainly slow and steady looks to be their preferred game style, and knowing that Incept won't have much money to play with, for the experienced veteran that he is, he'll certainly have a good read at the moment as to the economy of Incept. The word would have come out that they would have invested in armor last round, and they know that potentially Incept now looking at another eco round despite that AK in Xe's hands. Tux boosted up in mid, just keeping a close eye on the Z connector, whilst Ferg and Dans look to perhaps suss out that A bomb site, using the utility really wisely here.
And Pex is on point out middle as well, so he's got the cover of Tux up that boost, but he's just scouting things out. Seems a little bit too quiet at the ranch here as he does take down Chaotic in that A bomb site. That was the only A defender though. XL5 have made their way onto that site now and should get that bomb plant for free. Incept though are just rotating now to get themselves in better positions. Look for that retake. MFM actually catches Tux out, so free all.
That's right, silenced USP taking down the fully invested AWP there from Tux, so slight mishap there. Not aware that they could have pushed through the B main there. I think he'll be perhaps cursing himself or whoever's job it was to watch that choke point, but nonetheless, XL5 actually want to reclaim that ult for themselves. You can see them moving towards the B side almost as though that's where their target in the round lies, and certainly they've done a great job of recovering that ult for Tux. 14-10 at the moment, but Incept should be able to invest into this round. They've got about 4.5k on average across the board, and certainly that'll be enough for rifles, armor, and maybe even a utility grenade or two as they look to try and close out this map.
They have, as we said, invested in this round. Don't think they need to do anything particularly special at the moment. XL5 really just mess with their money a little bit. That's why the rounds have bled out so much. But a lot of spam coming in from XL5 early on. Zane takes quite a hit getting into that position, that position in the vent there as turns the tables and does a lot of damage to that door. But that Molotov means Zudex has to change his position. His teammate actually offered to put that out for him, but nonetheless, it's now a wasted smoke. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them later on in the round.
Well, whilst that action's going down, actually XL5 taking a really advanced stance here at the A bomb site. They're trying to open it up. Mizu lurking. He's done a great job here. He'll catch Zane off guard, and that might throw some doubts into the minds of the CTs. And it looks as though X here will be the solo defender on A as his teammates have abandoned him. He spots that dance, takes him down, spots eyes on Pex, but ultimately X beats him to the punch, taking him down. And the A bomb site has been opened up. The bomb, meanwhile, though, left behind in team main here. So Mizu forced to try and backtrack and reclaim that bomb. Looks as though it's been left potentially below the boost at the moment, and that it has as Mizu does pick it up. Tux and Pex doing a great job of locking down this side at the moment. The utility also supporting their cause as I think CT's just trying to work out what's going on, as they know A site was relinquished, but the time in between losing Chaotic or XC in the side, I should say, and the bomb getting planted was so drawn out that perhaps creating that doubt in their minds is now all doubt has been erased. They know that Mizu will go R in the A side, and will be Mizu opening up the fragging exchange there. It's very, very aggressive, opting to go for the crab walk through the A side and taking one down with him. Tux cleaning up the last, and XL5 trying to mount a bit of a recovery here, Jim.
They are. Hopefully they haven't left it too late though. But if there is a team, as we said, is a little bit more experienced in the sense that they've got a very experienced in-game leader in Ferg, some young up-and-coming aim stars. They're certainly the more favoured team to do it. As we do see them now just break into that default. They do take control of middle area, at least in terms of the boost. They will look to get someone up there, I'd imagine, but Dan's at the moment with Ferg. He's just fighting out in mid, just trying to take control, take those aim duels. As now we do see them finally get out mid, whether or not they're going to be caught or not. Ferg actually gets a frag with that SMG onto Zudex at short, but action is flowing thick and fast as Mizu opens up. Ferg is continuing to romp around with that SMG. Dans does get hit with a little bit of damage in mid, but the frags are being cleared out now at the moment. Exia left alone at that A-bomb site, and really should be spotted out here by Dans. It's taken down quite quickly. XL5 are coming back within striking distance here at the moment, and definitely will be calling on all that experience that they do have to themselves back into this one.
I like the change up here though, with Zudex actually getting that AWP in his hands. Curious to see Man from Malta also doing the same thing himself. So Incept really rolling the dice here. It's a very heavy investment. Zudex has taken his towards mid, and it looks as though that could be the object of affection here as Tux does get boosted up and ultimately proves to be his downfall. Zudex waiting for that, reading the play perfectly as the teammate was smoked off, allowing him the confidence to stand in the open and watch up towards the boost. Meanwhile, Pex shoots all over the silhouette there, chaotic, not managing to tag him down. I've got no idea how that's played out, but as it is, Exile 5 for the first time in a long while, Jim, it feels like, having to come from behind in a round, 4 versus 5.
Yeah, and that at a critical time too, as we said. Incept just looking to get themselves and close this match out. Ferg does take a crucial frag there onto Zudex. That AWPer has been taken down, and really now the pressure is on Incept to hold this A bomb site as they do stream out the A main. Chaotic here, he's going to be put under quite a bit of pressure. He does take down one, more importantly takes down the bomb, and will just retreat, changing his position up quite well there. He hasn't taken too much of a hit either, as he does burn alive eventually in that Molotov. Things got a little bit chaotic there, but forgive the pun, the man from Malta does seal the deal. It does bring up match point here for Incept. Exile 5, staring down the barrel of an unlikely defeat.
And I can't reiterate or stress the importance of that opening frag that Zudex got onto Tux there mid. It almost forced the hand of Exile 5. It was as though they were scared to play that split approach from that point onwards in the round. They very, very quickly regrouped, headed towards A, and it meant that Incept were able to stack numbers towards that bomb side and win out with the trade game. Great work there by Okato in the A side, getting, I think, a double ultimately for himself. Zudex has started out this round the stronger, taking that first frag onto Tux for the second time in a row. So Incept here looking to close out Keisha was their map choice, and MFM trying to help get his team across the line does take down Mizu, ultimately relinquishing control of the checkers. Ferg there charging through the vents, but he's running out of teammates here. Zane finding that AWP shot, Ferg putting him to death, but he only has one teammate here. It is a 2 versus 3, Exile 5. As they move towards this B side, Zudex playing the waiting game. The patience is rewarded. It's now a 1 versus 3 here, Jim. Pex gets that bomb planted.
Right, Pex has got some work to do. The bomb is secure in that B bomb site, but he needs to find a pick here. Very patient game, as we said, being played from Incept at the moment, as they do slowly hit that stranglehold in the bomb site. It is successfully retaken. Great games being had by MFM. 27 frags for him, but a well-rounded performance, I must say, from Incept. Exile 5 just struggling in key moments during that match, and as we said, they paid the price and now go one map down in this best of 3. Cache being that first map. And the next map, I do believe, is Cobble.
I liked how you staged, just drew out your sentence, said, great wordplay. The next map is just waiting for me to rescue. Next time, I'm just going to leave you. I'm just going to sit here and just let that silence, the deafening silence.
Currently browsing. Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to have any input, usually.
I don't know, I've done well, given the fact that I'm still recovering from yesterday's exercise. I thought my casting was okay then, but I was actually really impressed, in all seriousness, by what we saw from Incept there. I thought the only misplay that they made was in the second half, when Exile 5 had started to get their feet back under them, and we saw Incept forcing that eco round, I guess thereby meaning that they had to eco 2 more times after that. I thought that in hindsight, they might be perhaps regretting that decision, but outside of that little phase there in the match, I thought they had complete control over nearly every gun round, especially on the T side, it's fair to say. The way that they were seemingly just backing themselves to win the duels. We said that, quite rightly so, I thought that on the T side, it wasn't as though they were coming out with any sort of tips or tricks that no one had ever seen before, and that was winning them rounds that ordinarily they wouldn't.